Welcome. This is the Drupal usability meeting for August 4th, 2023. I'm Benji Fisher, moderating and sharing my screen. And also on the call are Thomas, Aaron McHale, Emma Harrell, Ralph Kohler, and Simo Helston. So here's the issue for today's meeting. And I thought I'd start off with a few things. For one thing, this may not be the most important issue in the world, but I just got an itch, as they say. It's issue 3379293. Make it easier to add a child menu item. And let me, oh no, I accidentally removed this tab from the window I'm sharing. I have here a fresh install of Umami, and I will post the link in the Zoom chat. You're all free to poke around at it. As usual, the admin password is admin. Let me back up a step. Just look at the lovely administration menu that comes with the standard profile or with Umami, and say you want to add a link under, I don't know, search and metadata. The way you do it is you choose add menu link, my new item, no one, and then this is the usability issue. You have this lovely select list, and what did I say I wanted to put it under? I wanted to put it under, did I say development?
I think you said search and metadata.
Thank you. I said search and metadata. So I have to find search and metadata in here. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think we saw the actual dropdown, unfortunately.
Oh, well, I took a screenshot. So this is part of what it looks like.
Maybe that was fortunately for us, actually, that we didn't see.
And the other thing is that, if I actually did want it under development rather than search and metadata, my other option is to create it and then click and drag, and we're going to scroll here, and maybe I'll just leave it there for the moment and then finally put it under development, and either of those two options, this click and drag nonsense or selecting from that awful list, why do we put up with this? So, and Ralph asks in the chat, haven't we discussed an issue that was about that select list a few weeks ago or already months? I don't know, maybe we did, but my proposal on this issue is simply to add, and instead of having a single edit link, to add make it a drop button with a second option to add a child menu item. So I would be able to click here and get a customized version of the add menu link where we've added some query parameter and the appropriate parent link is already selected for me. Does that sound like a reasonable solution?
I was thinking, if we want to add a drop button, would we want to add also delete? Or is it so seldom used in menu items that we don't need it to clutter screen reader experience?
Well, if we do have a drop button, then it's not really any additional clutter to add a third item. And we could discuss whether it's in scope for the current issue, but it seems like a reasonable further thing to do. Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Does Actually, isn't there already a drop button there with edit and delete? So we would just be adding something, some additional things to the drop button.
I just see a link here.
Oh, I thought there was a delete as well. Oh, maybe, okay, maybe because, so, well, this is, because those are added by, like, let's say by core, by default, or by a module, you don't get a delete link for those. But if you move them, you will get a reset link. If you add a custom menu item, you then also get a delete link. So, so yeah, just some clarity there actually, because that is a bit of a, it's interesting. Thing I was going to say is I think this is a great idea, and what we could also do, and this is inspired by something that Emma will be familiar with, we could add some potentially some additional options. So in addition to add a child, we could also have an add before or an add after, because that's something that you might want to do. Like you might want to, you might not know what the weights are, and on the form you have to like specify the weight, and you might not know like what the weight is of the item above or below. So it could be like added, almost like an add at the same level kind of thing. Could also be a nice addition.
Good point. Although that would be a little harder to implement, but I might
Yeah,
lead off to a
I would
follow-up.
say that's probably a follow-up, but I think definitely in this issue, like a good start would be adding a add child. I think is a good idea.
And you're absolutely right about the distinction between custom links and things added by modules. Now that I've put it in the development, I see a drop button for all these things below it with a reset, which I guess will just change the weights. And then my custom menu item, as you suggested, already has the delete link. So I guess once we have an add child item, everything, including the things that can't be deleted, will be a drop button, and they'll at least have the edit and add child links, and custom ones will have the delete link as well. So I have a plane flight coming up tomorrow. I suspect I'll be able to knock this out. But thanks for the input. So that's one issue. And as I said, I just had this itch. I was watching someone in a meeting doing a screen share, and there was this long main navigation menu. And I thought about what a nuisance it would be to try to add something to that. And Emma also feels that pain, as she says in chat. So let's see what else. In Slack, someone brought up a required Boolean field behaves differently depending on the widget. And I think we discussed that a few weeks ago, and I just need to follow up and add a comment with the results of our discussion, unless, or maybe someone else already added a comment. Let's do a quick check on that. If we have the comment, then I just have to make sure that I have the recording. The most recent comments are from June. Yeah, so as I said, I have an unfortunate backlog, and I will try to make some progress on it. And that's one of the issues that we have discussed, and we just need to update. The other thing that was suggested in Slack is this issue. It's issue 3250642. Message for an unpublished release doesn't account for no update available, which I haven't really looked at. I don't see any screenshots, although if it's just text. Shall we look at this, or Aaron, there was something you wanted to look at?
I don't have a preference. If you, I mean, you've already got the issue open, so we could. I think since it's been pinged in Slack, maybe we should take a look at this one first.
Yeah, so the Slack message is from Quiet One, who says, "Hi, looking for guidance if the string in this issue needs to change." So let's see. So problem motivation found in some other issue, which has a similar problem for unsupported releases. Update, calculate project update status has the message for the case if the current release is unpublished. Your currently installed release has been revoked and is no longer available for download. Disabling everything included in this release or upgrading is strongly recommended. This message doesn't account for the case if there isn't an available update. It appears this code is 10 years old and probably no one has ever filed an issue for this problem, so marking it as minor. And the proposed resolution is to change the message for the case if there is no update available. So let's see, how can we illustrate this? I'm pretty sure it's referring to reports, available updates. I don't have any contrib modules enabled, so I don't see any update information except for Drupal. Let me see if I can quickly enable some module. I usually have some things lying around. Don't want core. Let's try entity browser. Oh, I can't install that because it's not compatible with Drupal 10.2. Now I'm pretty sure that these modules, which I maintain, don't have any more current releases than what's in here. All right, so it's a little hard to see the problem.
I think what's interesting about that message is that you can tell it's not been touched in 10 years because it references disabling something, which has not been possible since Drupal 7.
Yeah, my hand. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of, it's interesting. We're looking at it because it's very much on a similar thread to the issues we've been looking at in previous weeks around the sort of module listings and how we can improve those interfaces.
So I'm inclined to say that before we can address this, we need some more detail in the proposed resolution, or maybe the question on Slack is just, is this good enough, or do we actually need to change it? Let me look at Quiet One's comment. Thank you for making a merge request. However, next time, make sure you are changing the correct string. The string changed in that merge request is for unsupported releases, not revoked, as is stated in the issue summary. In my opinion, the existing test disabling everything included in this release or upgrading is strongly recommended. Handles the case where there is no update because it says to disable everything. The suggested upgrading is an option only. I will ask in bug smashing UX. This is about user interface, so tagging. Okay, so Quiet One is saying the existing text is good enough. It handles the case where there is no update. So there might be other problems with text, like disabling isn't an option, uninstalling is probably the only option. So maybe we could change the word disabling to uninstalling, but that's not what this issue is about. This issue is about the or upgrading possibility. And so the person who filed the issue says, well, if there is no available upgrade, we should remove that. And Quiet One's opinion is that, well, it's just one of two options. And if they look at the module page and find there's no available upgrade, then they'll just have to follow the other option. Ralph, go ahead.
Me, it's also not entirely clear what revoked means in the context of the message. As a user, I would be confused. Your currently installed release has been revoked, and are there more? And it's also, I think, a potential area that might be improved.
So, for example, less is more, right? So we could just strike these words and have something readable. Your currently installed release is no longer available for download. Would that be an improvement?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not sure because I'm presuming this appears on like a site that's already downloaded and installed this release. So like if we don't state the reason, like in this case it's been revoked, like it might be confusing as to why you would see that message if you've already downloaded it, I think. It's almost like without that, it's, to me, the way I read that is it's saying it's no longer available for download. It's like, okay, thanks for telling me, but I already have it downloaded. So like, it's I feel like we still need to give some context as to why that message is coming up, maybe because maybe there's a security issue with it, or some urgency that we need to communicate about it. Again, without knowing the wider context, like where this appears, it's hard to say for sure. But maybe we need an actual example we can see.
So do we have like an idea of when releases, like the circumstances why releases would be revoked, rather than just say it's been revoked?
There are a couple of reasons it could be. Typically when a new release is made, the older ones are still available for download, but the maintainer of the module could choose to unpublish the really old ones. It could be a security problem. So let's just take, what's your favorite module? No.
How
I
about
would
one?
defer to the developers on that.
How about a module you maintain, Benji?
Oh, that's too embarrassing. Also I don't maintain anything that has a long release history. Let's do one of the most installed modules and have a look at its available releases. So it has just these 3 releases listed on the page. There are also development versions. So what would happen if I tried to install some previous version, like instead of 8.x 3.14, presumably there's an 8.x 3.13, or at least there was. So it looks like this is still available. You could download it. In fact, let me try that installation instruction. I'll go back to my my terminal, which you can't see because I'm only sharing the browser window. And instead of the recommended, requiring at least version 3.13, I'll ask for exactly version 3.13. Oh, do. All right, that doesn't work because I have the development version, which is now 11.x rather than 10.2.x.
I wonder if we need to maybe come back to this one with like manufacturer this because like set up a module, tag a release, and then install it on a site, then unpublish that release would probably be, I would guess, the way to do it.
Yeah, it would help to have more information. So I am able to install ctools. Let's see, did I just break my site? Yes, I just broke my site.
Just a brief note. In the linked issue in the message for an unpublished release, there is a link to never show a not supported version as recommended. I think for context, it might be helpful. And there also in the steps to reproduce, those are basically the steps Aaron suggested, outlined how to create such a scenario.
So should we look at that?
Yep, I think might be also useful to talk about that, maybe.
So this is the issue referenced from the previous one. It's 3227518. Never show a not supported version as recommended. And where should I look?
Just the issue summary and the steps to reproduce.
Steps to reproduce. Push a minor release that is one step ahead of the release you want to support. Mark it as unsupported, install it and enable it. and visit the available updates page on your site. You should see something similar to the screenshot above. So how does that handle the current case? And we're talking about the case where where there's nothing available. So I guess the point is that the way you get into this situation is that the module maintainer marks it as unsupported, which has not been done for whatever version of CTools we were looking at. I wonder if really old versions have been marked unsupported, like the ones before security updates. But I guess this does show that the way to get something not available for download is if the module maintainer marks it as unsupported.
Yeah, I guess we probably don't know because we would need to actually. I think it's maybe different to unsupported because the one we're looking at is talking about a release that's actually been revoked. So it's, the equivalent of like unpublishing something. So we probably actually need to manufacture that ourselves to actually see it. So yeah, maybe that's something we need to do ahead of a meeting, and then figure out how to trigger this, and then we can see an actual site showing this.
Okay, so we need more information before we can really reply to this. Ralph, I see you posted a link to the forum in the chat. Shall I open that up?
Not necessarily. That question there just references a few modules that got unsupported, and just for reproduction, I thought it would be useful. But if the case is a different one with the revoked, then it's irrelevant anyway. So
okay, so we'll ask for some more information on this. And Aaron, you wanted to suggest something else to look at?
Sure.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I can share my screen. It's probably easier.
Sure.
Okay. So this is the list of issues that we've been carrying forward. This one, which is 2980952, wrong message on canceling account with email confirmation request. We'd reviewed it, but then it came back onto the list because of some suggestions in the issue. So this was our in fact, I'll go up to the top so we can get a proper sense of this. I'll read out this. So when a user cancels their own account, they're displayed with the message, a confirmation request to cancel your account has been sent to your email address, which is absolutely correct for this case. However, when an admin cancels a user account and chooses to email a confirmation request to such user, the same message is displayed, which is not correct. It should say something along the lines of a confirmation request to cancel this user account has been sent to the user's email. Excuse me. Email address. Sorry, I had something stuck in the back of my throat there. When an admin cancels a user account without choosing to email a confirmation request to the user, all is well and correct message is displayed. So that is, yeah, essentially the idea. And we made a suggestion. If I scroll down, oh, too far. Okay, so we suggested a confirmation request to cancel name has been sent to the user's email address as a message, as opposed to a confirmation request to cancel the account has been sent to the user's email address. So this, I believe, is the status message that appears. And yeah, I was just noting some scope changes. So that was okay, and then it ended up at RTBC. And actually, sorry, I just scrolled past the part. So then in comment here, we're saying, not sure about the suggested wording. For example, a confirmation request has been sent to cancel Strellan, I guess, has been sent to the user's email address. They're saying, I don't want to be cancelled. And then I agreed saying, yeah, I wouldn't want to be cancelled either. So maybe we need to revisit this. So yeah, there's maybe just basically came back round. I don't think there was. I think there was a little bit more discussion. Yes, it's really just to get a sense of that. So yeah, so essentially we're really just looking to propose maybe either decide if we need to change the wording slightly on what we previously recommended, or if we still are happy to recommend this. Because yeah, it would basically read something like a confirmation request has been to cancel Aaron has been sent to the user's email address, which is, you know, maybe not ideal wording. So yeah, any does that make sense? Any kind of thoughts on this wording?
I'm in favor of adding the account. So what is the current wording?
So this was what was proposed up until here. So to cancel the account, and then we changed it slightly. I think we basically just changed it to add the name of the account in here instead of saying the account. So we could go back to just the account, or we could say like still have the name in, but then do it as plural. So like Aaron apostrophe S account.
That's
Would
not
it
And then we
all
say
always-
the
that possessive.
users. So I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say, is it always a name, or is it, that would work if it was a first name, but I don't know how people use that field. Like, do they put in like a username that wouldn't make sense to have an apostrophe S? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it could be any arbitrary like username.
What about saying the account for and then the name of the account?
So to cancel the account for and then the name. We could also substitute, or we could change from to the user's email address. We could say to their email address because that's slightly shorter. But then I also wonder if that makes sense. If it's like, that makes sense if it's an account for an individual, but it could very well be like a generic account that's in that context. Maybe the wording doesn't make sense.
So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand who. So is this about what the user sees, or is this about the person who's canceling, what the person who's canceling the user sees?
Yeah, I think it's like the if I go back up here, I don't know if there's a screenshot. I think it's basically like when it, as an admin, if you go to yeah, if you cancel an account, yeah, when an admin cancels a user account and chooses to send email, chooses to email a confirmation request to a
Yeah.
user.
What about saying just the account, parenthesis or square bracket, the name of the account, parenthesis or square bracket? So that's as short as it can get, but it still is being very specific. I'm not a fan of just saying the account. I think that the actual account name needs to be there, or the email address. But putting it into something so you can see it.
So I'm just gonna put some suggestions in here of things we're saying. So could you say that again, Thomas?
Would it be possible to essentially say the account, parenthesis or square bracket, and then the name of the account, and then end parenthesis and square bracket?
Okay.
It's just basically, to me, having the actual name is really, really mission critical, because it's too easy to get a generic message and be deleting the wrong thing. So when you take an action that is specific and targeted, that information should be included in the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Would it be your request? Like, so if this is the only person that would be sending the request to cancel be the admin? So this is what the admin's going to see. Is it like confirmation that they've taken the right action? Your request to cancel the account has been sent to, maybe it's the account email address. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is like the status message you would see after you've taken the action. So then the email is on its way basically at that point.
Aaron, why don't you open up the Drupal site I set up? Oh,
Good idea.
and this is the Umami demo profile. So there are already some users, and you can just cancel one of those accounts.
I was about to try and put in my own name in there. Okay. Let's just try this one. So I guess I don't know if it's let's see, I think it's the case where it requires email confirmation.
I think so too.
Yeah. Let's just try this. Okay, yeah, so obviously if you're canceling a user, current message doesn't make sense because it's not your account, it's the account of a different user. And so we definitely need to have some indication there that it is the account, you know, it's not your account, it's the account of that user.
And also, I'm looking at the patch, and I just pasted into the Zoom chat the current text. A confirmation request to cancel the name account has been sent to the user's email address. So
let me try and grab that.
I think that's what you suggested, except instead of to cancel username, it's to cancel the username account.
Yeah. Right, because that would look something like It would look like that, which I don't think with a username there, I don't think it reads right.
Ralph put a suggestion in the chat that the username would go after the word account. So that's another. Oh, you have that one already, though, I think.
I think
That's slightly different.
Yeah, I think he was writing what Thomas was that. Ralph, were you just writing what Thomas wrote?
Not sure. I was just unsure if it's
Oh, I think it
necessary
is slightly different.
Yeah, to write that is sent to the user's email address.
Yeah, I mean, this is shorter. How do we feel about the brackets, whether it's the square ones or the parentheses? Because we don't normally use them in status messages, but it may be appropriate here.
In my case, it was just to signify that it's the username. It wasn't my intention
Okay.
to display it front facing. It was just to clarify that's the username.
Okay. Yeah, because Thomas had suggested that adding parentheses or brackets. So I was thinking.
You could use quotes instead.
Yeah, I think we normally those would get, so like in this case, like it would get changed to italics because the sort of substitution would like
That's right.
if I delete a piece of content or something, we can see that. I think. Okay, now it's in Spanish. But yeah, you can kind of see here that the name of the content, I guess this was the name, is in italics, while other parts of the message are not in italics.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not saying italics are a good idea, but that is kind of our normal pattern, and I'd be keen that we stick with that pattern. And if we wanted to change that pattern, which maybe we should, then maybe we should do it at a higher, sort of more generic level, like we did with removing the word please from the entire code base.
I personally think that the current patch is good enough, that the Aaron account where Aaron is italicized indicates which account is being deleted. It says where the email is being sent. Maybe it's a little bit awkward to say the Aaron account, but I think it's clear enough. So I don't think there's a real usability issue there.
And I think it addresses the comment that somebody felt they were being cancelled. So it's like the account that's being cancelled, not the person, if it's a name, because it could just be a generic name for a account.
Also, I'm working on some sites that use account called API, and API isn't cancelled, it's the API account then.
Yeah. I feel like putting like the account rather than the username account, like in this order, is maybe reads slightly better rather than like this.
I think they're both awkward.
Yeah, I think they're both. I don't think there's
Okay.
much between them, so we could just pick.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if nobody objects, I'll recommend this. Oh my gosh, my mouse is a little bit weird. Yeah, I would recommend this phrasing, but if nobody's objects. But I also wonder like how let me change that back. How do we feel about this additional part here where it's because Ralph has suggested essentially just removing that. But is it better to be explicit?
I think I would say yes, because if I was cancelling something, I'd want to know where it had been sent. So if I wanted to follow it up, I'd know. I could then say to the person that had the account, did you get an email about that? You know, so
Right.
rather than having any ambiguity of where that confirmation request has gone. But
Yep.
I'm a bit of a control freak about things like that, so maybe that's just my own personal opinion, but I think explicit is better.
Yeah, I agree. And Ralph also gave a thumbs up. And then it's also has parity with the issue when a user cancels their own account. It says the confirmation request has been sent to your email address. So this variant of the message says to the user's email address. So the messages are as similar as possible.
Let me see if I can reproduce. I can do that. Find out if it'll let me log in. And also if that user has permission. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the request, the email the user gets. Yeah, so it would be very similar. I'll just like copy and paste this over here so we can get a side-by-side view of it. Yeah, I like how they're very similar. So that's good. Okay, well, it sounds like we have some form of consensus, albeit it's an awkward message. But okay, I'll update this issue and get this moving again.
And if you want to be an angel, you can update the issue description so that we can remove that tag and get it back to needs review.
Yeah, I'll does it have, yeah, that's a good point actually. I'll have a look through the description. Okay, sounds good. I will stop sharing.
Okay, we have a little less than 10 minutes left in the hour. Shall we have a look at another issue or just call it a day?
I'm happy calling it today because I need to depart anyway.
Okay. Right, and I always say that you shouldn't have meetings for the sake of meetings. So let's just cut it short a little bit. And I won't be here next week, but Aaron will be moderating the meeting, and I will be back in 2 weeks, possibly jet lagged. But yes, hope as many of you as possible can make it. See you soon.
Thanks,
Enjoy the
bye.
holidays.
Thank you,
On
bye.
vacation, Benji.
Bye.
Bye bye.